Motherfucker.
Very good. Very good.
Am I ever going to get to see any video of it, or is that private?
We're live.
Thing I just spoke at?
Your show with
No, the
us.
thing you did in Dearborn.
Oh, we uploaded it's pinned on my Twitter.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay. I'll go check it out. And now I'm here with Jackson the Hair Hinkle, everybody. Show him over my shoulder, please. There he is. And hey, Jackson, how are you? Look at that. And he's even getting hair on his face now, Kurt. What do you think of that?
I don't like it. I like a more baby face.
I like baby face too.
I like a young. I just need a really young face.
You and James Whale.
Me and James Whale need a young. Could I put on like a George Washington wig on my bald head and seduce James Whale?
Well, you look like you've been working out, haven't you? You look like you're fantastic. Anyway, okay.
Would you like to harpoon the whale?
Jackson, now you're in Russia at this big economic conference in St. Petersburg, right?
Yes, the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum, which Scott Ritter was banned from attending by the U.S. State Department. And
yes, and Judge Napolitano was supposed to go to that too, but didn't because of Scott getting kicked off that plane. And so this is much bigger than Davos, right?
Oh yeah, I mean there was I think somewhere between 12 and 20,000 people. I don't know what the exact stat is. I know that's a big jump, but somewhere between that many people. And when you're walking around the forum, I mean it's a massive venue, but you have to basically push your way through the crowds like an NFL linebacker. It's insane how many people. I think there's 160 something countries present, world leaders, people that were just interested and wanted to come were there, business leaders. The whole thing is about promoting multipolarity through economics. So it was a really cool.
Multipolarity means right now we have the United States as the hegemon and is a unipolar world where we dictate everything. That's why we have 1,000 military bases across the world. But now people are coming together through BRICS and the other things. I heard like 81 countries are going to join BRICS, right? So it seems like it's going to be over for the United States, and we should all find another country to move to.
Really NATO.
And somehow switch our money. If you have money in dollars, I would switch it to gold or something soon. Which is what I'm actually doing.
I'll switch it to those ration meals for the apocalypse. That's probably will be worth extra, I would imagine. Protein bars.
So listen, the reason why I have you on, there was an election. Now, I want you to help explain. You understand it more than I do, I'm sure. So this is from Bloomberg. It says Macron and Schultz get trounced by far right in European Union elections. And here, the European Union parliamentary elections indicate a good number of lefties are getting kicked to the curb. So far, Macron has resolved France's parliament, and Belgium's prime minister is going to resign tomorrow. Also affected Germany, Austria, the Netherlands, and the right doesn't have the majority of the 700 plus seats, but it's sending a huge message.
Wait, I thought he dissolved it. He resolved it? Why did I think he dissolved it?
He dissolved. That's what it is.
Oh.
So it says French President Emmanuel Macron and German Chancellor Olaf Scholz suffered massive defeats in the European Parliament election Sunday as far-right parties made gains that could sway the bloc to take a harder line on migration and upset ambitious actions to protect the climate. Despite the defeats on the national level, center-left and center-right parties across Europe are set to preserve their majority in the European Union-wide ballot, which determines the makeup of the bloc's legislative assembly. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, she's evil, European People's Party was projected to finish first. So tell me, so they had a vote yesterday, and what the... So they're having
any good Ursulas? That's my question.
There are no good but tell me what happened, and was it really a rejection of the lefty immigration, climate change, woke policies?
Yes, it was. Essentially what happened was you had the European parliamentary elections which are different than any single state's parliament election. So, the French parliamentary elections Macron called for snap elections to take place, I think, very soon, like next week or in 2 weeks or something, because of the massive turnouts of Le Pen's party in France. And Germany also saw the current government, the Schulz's party, they suffered a huge defeat. I think they took third place in the elections, in these European parliamentary elections. So overall, it was a complete rejection of the status quo that we've seen for the past 2.5 years in Europe, with the exception of countries like Hungary and Italy, who's recently, they elected Meloni and her coalition. But what this really is, I mean, there's obviously a lot of factors at play. The United States doesn't want a strong European Union because they are worried about, a challenge on the dollar. They're worried about the European Union growing up and having different views from the United States, different views about China, for example, different views on immigration or woke issues. They're worried about their views on Gaza, of course. But ultimately, what the United States is looking at right now in the European Union is they still want it to be weak. That's why they forced the European Union to, apply all these sanctions on Russia, which caused the complete collapse of the economies in Europe. And that's the main issue here. I mean, yes, a lot of Europeans are upset with this nonsense gender issues and the climate policies that they're pushing. But the biggest thing is how the sanctions have impacted the economies of Europe, namely how the sanctions have impacted Germany, which was the largest economy in Europe, and produces a whole lot of not just cars, which is what they're known for, but the major car manufacturers are Volkswagen, and these other big German ones. They produce a lot of the like civilian goods that are not related to cars. They produce a lot of military items that the European states use as they prepare for this eventual war with Russia. So there's a lot to be said. The U.S. doesn't want a strong Europe. They want them weak and they want them to break apart. But they also understand that through the sanctions, the only people that have gotten richer and richer and who have prospered is China and, to a lesser extent, the United States. So overall, the United States is in a bit of a pickle. They understand they can't have a strong Europe. They can't have a strong challenge to the dollar because BRICS is already doing that, and they don't need another. But they also understand that you can't allow the status quo to continue in the way it has, because China will continue to become more powerful.
So this is also a rejection of the Ukraine war and all this and all the economic sanctions on Russia, right? I never understood why Europe wanted to go along with it anyway, because it hurt. I mean, Germany, which is
put it together,
which is the economic engine of Europe. Now they're paying 2, 3, sometimes 4 times as much for their energy as they were before the Ukraine war, because we blew up the Nord Stream pipeline. And so that's got to be horrible for their economy. So now that there's a, I'm so dumb, I don't understand anything almost about it, but so there's a European Parliament, right? And so whenever I see Claire Daly and that Mick, they're speaking there. That's where they're speaking in the European Parliament.
Yeah, they're members of the. So when you see their tag, it says MEP. That means member of European Parliament.
Okay.
And then anything that's just MP is member of Parliament of a given state.
And so they had this. So they had this vote yesterday, Sunday, and now is there going to be another vote coming up
in France? Yes.
Oh, so
France.
What made Macron dissolve his parliament?
I don't know the exact reason behind his logic, but there was a turnout the likes of which I don't think anyone really expected from the right-wing Le Pen party, and it was so overwhelming that Macron had to call for these snap elections because it was horrific. I don't know if you saw the maps, but it was a turnout and a bloodbath that we haven't really seen anywhere in recent, political history, modern political history, especially for that of a right-wing party. I mean, even look at like Trump. All the elections have been close. You've never seen a country that has gone so far in one direction, and that direction being the right wing. But I'll also say that these right wing parties, though they might have some people that are tangentially associated with them or build coalitions with them who are objectively good on a lot of issues, most of them are still Zionists. Most of them are fiercely anti-China. And most of them, while they campaign on being, anti-NATO and, peace with Russia, you look at Meloni, she gets elected and she starts sending more weapons to Ukraine. So the proof is in the pudding. We got to see how they act when they're actually in power or have some, leverage on the government.
So it's not all shits and giggles. Well, here's what you were talking about. In France, Marine Le Pen's National Rally won with 32% of the vote, while Macron's Renaissance Party trailed with 15%. In Germany, Schultz's Social Democrats crashed to their worst ever result, falling behind both the opposition conservatives and far-right Alternative for Germany. The president can't just remain deaf to the message sent by the French people. Jordan Bardella, the head of the National Rally, told supporters, "We solemnly ask him to take note of this new political situation, to come back to the French people and organize new legislative elections." Well, that is what he's doing. As the bloc's biggest economies contend with an easy grasp of power at home, the outcome highlights how elusive it is for Europe to find clear leadership to drive the European top policies. Macron's warnings about the rise of authoritarianism and appeal for European unity in the run-up to the vote failed to boost his results, as concerns about inflation, security, and immigration saw Le Pen's support increase. Ahead of the vote, he presented the election as an existential fight for the continent and pivotal for Ukraine's battle against Vladimir Putin. The French president's reputation as a reformer and steward of the economy has also suffered blows in recent months, with the government forced to seek tens of billions of euros in savings after its deficit ballooned and the S&P Global rating downgraded the country's credit rating. The center-right EPP group is set to win, according to the first projection for the formation of European Parliament, giving it and the Socialists and Democrats and Liberals a combined 398 seats out of 720. The far-right European conservatives and reformists, along with the identity and democracy grouping, will have 133 seats. The Greens were slated to drop to 53 seats from 71. So these results mean that the bloc's top jobs, including the president of the European Commission and the European Council, are likely to be dished out among leaders from the mainstream parties. That could confer a degree of continuity on key policies at a time of immense geopolitical uncertainty, with Russia's war on Ukraine raging to the east and China becoming even more assertive. Okay, so what do you make of what's your assessment of all of it?
My assessment of all of it is I think the United States is getting what they want the most, which is a weaker Europe. I mean, you've already seen that in the stocks today and the speculation on various European currencies. Europe is hurting. They're in shock after these. European investors are hurting. They're in shock after these election results and the subsequent call for snap elections in France. And I'll also add the stat you read about the 30-something% vote for Le Pen's party. If you actually, it sounds like it's not a lot, but if you look at the map, it's kind of similar to how we have the electoral vote system here in America. If you look at the map of France, it's just completely covered with her party. So regionally, it's very her vote, counts as very diverse across the whole country, and she won almost but a few small regions of the entire country of France. So they did very well. But ultimately, what is this about? This is about doing what the United States has done for a long time, having a weak Europe, breaking it apart. I think many in the United States, financial sector would love to see a weakened Europe with more and more countries that are causing disarray and causing the further division of the European Union, which will ultimately weaken the euro and cause more difficult times for China even in their relationship with Europe.
Hey, just to give you an idea of who won, this guy won His name is, he's from Poland. His Gregor's Braun. So this is how he handled, they had a menorah, and this is how he handled the menorah. Have you seen this, Jackson? Watch this.
What is happening?
He was pissed off.
Panie pośle, co pan robi? Panie pośle, co pan robi?
So I don't speak, he's saying, I need a pierogi, I think, but I don't speak Polish, but so he was definitely upset that it's a Christian country, and that
So he isn't saying the enigmatic slur of "come back to Poland,"
and that he thought that the Jewish people had the leaders had too much power, and he's like, so that was what. But a lot of people that led to a lot of memes like this. So yeah, so he, by the way, the reason I show you that, he got kicked out of the European Parliament for that. He just got reelected.
Wow. Oh.
He just got reelected.
It was not like he stepped on a gay flag or something.
So it's not like he did something bad, like something like a pride flag. But here's the story. Macron takes huge risk with surprise election.
What does that mean?
President Macron has called snap parliamentary elections later this month in the wake of a big victory for his rival Marine Le Pen's national rally in the European Parliament vote. The far-right party is on course to win 32% of the vote. Okay, we just talked about that. Announcing the dissolution of the parliament, he said that 2 rounds of voting would take place on June 30th and the 7th of July, a few weeks before. Why 2 rounds? I don't understand how that works. Mr. Macron made the dramatic and surprise decision in a televised address from the, how do you say that? Elysee Palace? I think so. At an hour after voting closed and exit polls had been declared in France's EU elections. I've heard your message, President told the voters, and I will not let it go without a response. France needs a clear majority and serenity and harmony, he said, adding that he could not resign himself to the far right's progress everywhere in the continent. Now, barely 2 years into his second term as president, Macron already lacks a majority in the French parliament, and though his European vote in theory has no bearing on national politics, he clearly decided that continuing his mandate without a new popular consultation would place too much of a strain on our system. The upcoming parliamentary elections also won't affect Mr. Macron's own job, as they are separate from the presidential elections, and his term as president still runs for 3 more frickin' years. Ms. Le Pen, who has twice been defeated by Mr. Macron in presidential elections, immediately reacted, saying her party was ready to exercise power, ready to put an end to mass immigration. Calling a snap election is a huge surprise for the country and a huge risk for Macron. He could have reacted differently. He could have just kept going, explaining the far right's massive victory as a European aberration, which would be corrected at more important elections. The fact is that he is stuck. Without a majority, getting any bill through the National Assembly is already a struggle, with most of the country now so clearly against him. Any new legislation, for example, the upcoming budget, could have proved explosive. So he has plumped for clarity. If National Rally has the votes, then he says they should be given the chance to govern. Obviously, the president will hope his own Renaissance party can mount a fight back at the elections on June 30th and July 7th, or that other parties will do better too. But he must appreciate that the odds favor another victory for National Rally. Maybe not one so sweeping as Sunday's result, but enough for it to become the biggest party in parliament, at which point we might well have a Prime Minister Marie Le Pen, or indeed Jordan Bardella. So he's really losing, and people seem to be upset with the immigration. I haven't been to France, but I've seen videos and I've read articles and seen people talk about it. But it's nuts what they're doing it seems like people are upset with the flood of immigration in France, just like they are here in the United States and also in London. Am I right? What do you know about it?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the same videos you have, and for that very reason, it's not on my it's not currently on my bucket list to visit any of these countries. It looks like there's a lot of crime associated with it as well, which is never good when you have people living in poverty and they resort to measures like that. But, I think Le Pen, or you look at Macron, and he's definitely a political mastermind to be in the position he's in, and he's been there for so long, and he kind of has a record. He has a history of going scorched earth on all of his opponents. He's not one who's known to, hand out a bone to anybody. So I think when it comes to this decision to offer snap elections, specifically when he knows that Le Pen's party will do well, it does speak to maybe something that he knows is coming down the line that will make Le Pen's party look bad before the French public if they have the power to govern. And that's smart. In Germany, we see a similar thing. 93% of the German public said today that they want to have similar snap elections, but we don't see any movement coming in Germany regarding it. So I think that Macron is playing some 4D chess here, and he thinks that whatever is going to happen with a successful, political campaign from Le Pen's party will immediately backfire and cause her to perform poorly once more in the next presidential election.
Okay, well, Jackson, the Herr Hinkle, I appreciate you making time from your busy schedule over in Russia, Mother Russia, at the St. Petersburg Economics Forum.
Spreading your Putin propaganda.
Yeah. I forgot to give you some Jack. Oh, look at that. What does that say?
I don't know.
So now, Jackson, you're still doing the dive on Rumble, right?
I'm launching a new show soon, actually. But yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a twist. But for now, yes, I'm still doing my show.
What's the twist? Can you tell us? Can you give us a sneak peek?
I can't say yet.
Oh.
A little bit of a twist.
It's a porn?
Is it?
It'll make James Whale very happy.
Are you gonna add a co-host?
No, but there will be more production, which I'm excited about. We're gonna level up like the Jimmy Dore show and have some. I'll have at least one person working for me.
Nice. So are you launching into a deal with Rumble or something like that? I mean, I'm really wanting to get the insight on this.
It's not Michaela Peterson, is it?
You'll be the first to know. I haven't told anyone yet, so you'll be the first to know. But I'll probably announce it when I come back from Russia. But there's a lot going on right now between BRICS, between all these elections. There's elections in Venezuela coming up, Iran, the UK, and I think that people are craving a specific sort of news that's going to be tailored to the multipolar world. So that's my primary interest and focus.
Oh, okay. Going to be focusing on the foreign policy. Hey, do you think that the rumors are true that Biden actually shit his pants when he was on stage with Macron on D-Day?
Rumors? We saw the video of it. I don't think it's rumors. I mean, it's like you saw him do the squat, and then they carried him off, and you saw Joe Biden's face. She looked like she was a bit squeamish. I don't think it's rumors.
I've seen him rush out of a room like how I would if I shit my pants. I have done that, and that's how I ran out the room. I was like, well, gotta go.
So you Alex Jones has reported. Did you see that video I sent you?
Yeah.
That he does that. I
believe every word.
He just shits his pants when he gets angry at something.
I mean, if you can't do that as the president, are you the most powerful man?
And so I thought it looked like he was just trying to find a chair to sit down in, but you think he was actually shitting?
He was looking for a stool, if you know what I mean.
You're far too generous. You're far too generous with your thinking.
Really?
That's a Snopes line. No, he was just looking for a chair. I mean, 100%. I think he relieved himself on D-Day in front of the president of France and his very masculine wife. I don't see any reason to. I mean, he's never been one to like sit down in the middle of a press conference. We've seen him do the looking around, the handshakes, but never trying to find a chair like that. I think he just shit himself.
He obviously shit himself. How is this even a debate?
Oh, okay.
He did it.
Okay.
I know a guy shit himself when I see it.
Yeah.
What do you think Jill said when she put her hand over? Please don't shit here. You think that's what she said? Bill, don't come on, Joe, don't shit here.
Too late for that.
Yeah, no, it's too late for. I don't know what she was saying. Should I remain calm? I don't know. Wait,
look, in the grand scheme of things, Hillary Clinton right now has got to be pretty happy that the most she ever had to deal with was Monica Lewinsky. Joe Biden's got to deal with her baby child like shitting himself every 5 hours.
Oh God, did she keep the pants? How Monica saved the dress? I hope not.
Okay. All right. Well, for the time being, you can check out Jackson Hinkle on the dive on Rumble, but or his Twitter. But you could catch a new iteration of that show coming soon. We're all waiting with bated breath. Okay.
All right, you guys.
I talk to you. Be safe.
Thank you.
Talk to you later. Bye bye. Let's go to a break and we bring out our next guest.
Ben Swan.
No more! I yield! I yield! Oh!
Hey, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there for more AM Joy and the rest of MSNBC. And click on any of the videos right here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. And you can get more videos from MSNBC for free every day with our newsletters. Just visit
Isn't it swell? The memes make themselves. They found a rabbi hole, tunnels and all. There's Jews in the walls. Isn't it bliss? The rabbinical grace soiling the mattresses. Well, let me tell you. If I were Rabbi Shmuley and diddle 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 digga digga diddle diddle dum, all day long I'd diddle little bums. If I were a Shmuley man, I'd peddle all my dildos, dreidel dildos, selling dildos with my daughter and her mum. If I were a Jewish Shmuley man, I'd be digging with a dildo in my bum. I'd wear a grotesque nose and go grab some goyim right on the nipple with a pinch. A Shabbos lap dance brace for the youngest mensch.
At this time, more than any other time, you know, revolution is necessary. It is necessary. Not only based on what has happened with the MOVE organization, you know, the babies that have been murdered, you know, MOVE adults that have been murdered, bombs being dropped on us, but past that to what is happening with all black people, so-called minority people, you know, money poor people. You know, this government, as has been said earlier, has waged war on us. But you know, something about us, particularly here in America, we don't really understand that. You know, we don't really know what war is. You know, for black people, for poor people, that people see as good, that they wasn't forced to do, that they didn't do to try to keep black people appeased, you know, and calm down so that black people wouldn't riot. A prison situation is a crystallized example of that. You can make phone calls in prison. They have movies in prison. But they don't have those things because they just want to be nice to prisoners. They have those things because they know damn well if they don't have, you know, people being able to contact their family, if they don't have, you know, facilities for people to sit there and watch movies, people are going to be frustrated, upset, and they're going to direct that frustration at them prison administrators. And they're going to have riots on their hands. You know, they're going to have people in them prisons turning them prisons out. That's why they have movies. That's why they have access to phones the way they do. And a stop to it when we don't like it, or encouraging it when it's something that's in our interest. You know, we have to call the shots. The people have to take the reins of this system and start dictating, you know, what we need, what needs to be done. And, you know, taking the initiative to do it ourselves. We can't rely on this system. I mean, you know, don't people see what's happening? Every single confrontation that MOVE people have been involved in, every single issue, you know, oppression, economic issues, every single issue facing our people, you know, is something that can be dealt with very, very simply. All people got to do is make their wishes known. All people have to do is stand up and say, listen, we're not accepting that. Unity is the key. Unity is the key to revolution. Revolution ain't nothing to be afraid of. It ain't nothing to shy away from. Revolution, contrary to what officials, you know, this system and those backing the officials running this system, you know, want people to believe that revolution means violence, you know, means blood in the street. I'm saying it can get to that point, but it don't have to be violent. You know, when people come together and take a strong stand on an issue, this government don't have no choice but to listen. Where you think they get their authority from? They don't have no power, but they do have authority to do certain things. Where you think they get it from? They get it from us, from the people. You know, they get it from us accepting the things that they do to be done to stop it. Then you have some people who want to then turn around and say, yeah, well, you know, it's the best we have, and want to make excuses. The time for excuses is over. It's over. You know, every man, woman, and child has to be involved in this revolution. Not only has to be, but is, whether you want to be or not. I mean, our babies gave their lives for this revolution on May 13th. You know, men, women, and children were murdered. And not just move babies, you know. What about all of the young men, women, you know, children 8, 9 years old shot down on the street by cops, you know, by drug pushers? I mean, you know, where do you think that mentality comes from? It comes from this system, from the mentality of this system of getting over, you know, making a quick buck, you know. I'm saying that's where that needs to be done to stop it. Then, you know, what I want people to really, really understand is that it's past time. It is past time for poor people, black people, you know, to realize that this system has failed you. It has failed you. You can't get nothing from it. And what people got to do is withdraw our support from it and start doing for ourselves. That's what we got to do. You know, how long are people going to sit back and beg, you know, this government to do what's right when for hundreds of years all you've gotten is a slap in the face? All you've gotten is this government kicking your ass. That's all. That's all black people have ever gotten from this government.